Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the class. Today, we will start a new chapter in history, that is tribes, nomads, and settled communities. So, first of all, we have till now discussed about so many kingdoms which rose and then fell, and we have also seen that so many new developments were happening in political, social, and economic lives of the people. And likewise, we have also seen that the social changes which were occurring in different places at different places were not similar, and we see that actually there we can say there were two types of society was was developing in the subcontinent, like the first society which is about which we have till now discussed is the society which was based on the rules of varna system पर based जो society थी that was there, in which the Brahmins were accepted as the higher most. They were at the higher most social position, then Kshatriyas, then Vaishyas, and then Sudras. And we see that this hierarchical system of Varna was very much popular, and it was becoming stronger in, in the subsequent kingdoms. But here we see that there was another kind of society was also developing, and this is we may call it a tribal society. In a tribal society, we find that people did not follow the varna system. People did not follow the rules and rituals which are prescribed by the brahmanas, and they were not divided into different varnas. This type of society is known as a tribal society. So, in a tribal society, the members of the tribal society are connected to each other by kinship. Kinship means they all are having some kind of blood relationship. Okay, and these tribals, they usually did agriculture in order to earn their livelihood. Sometimes they were hunter gatherers also, or herders also, and they are very much dependent on their surroundings, on the natural resources, in order to mm, fulfill their needs of life. And there were also some tribes who were nomadics. Nomadics means they do not lived at one place, they moved from one place to another place. Okay, and we find that in different parts of the subcontinent, these tribes were living. They lived in forests, they lived in hills, they lived in deserts, or and such places where it was really difficult to reach. So they were living in all parts of the subcontinent, and we find that many times the caste based society and tribal societies were dependent also on each other for their different types of needs. And now we will see that the tribal people, their distribution in the Indian subcontinent, how they were distributed over the subcontinent. So we see that they were in many number in Punjab. Like some powerful tribes were there in Punjab, like Gakhars and Khokhars. पंजाब में जो ट्राइब बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट थी वो खोखर है एंड गखर्स है, और गखर्स में जो एक उनका चीफ था, ही बिकेम वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, वेरी पावरफुल, दैट इज कमाल खान गखर. He was the chief of Gakhar tribe, and he was made a noble by Emperor Akbar. And then we see that in Multan and Sindh there were other tribes like Langhas and Arghuns. Baluchis were also a very important tribe which was very powerful in the northwestern part of the subcontinent. Likewise, we find that they were divided into smaller clans. Clans क्या होता है? Clans means it is also, we can say, an extended family, a group of families uh, who have common ancestors. ओके, सो क्लैंस भी वही हुआ, फैमिली है जिसमें बहुत बड़ी फैमिली, सबके बीच में ब्लड रिलेशनशिप है एंड सबके एंसेस्टर्स सेम है. ओके, तो ये जो ट्राइब्स थे दे वर डिवाइडेड इनटू डिफरेंट स्मॉलर क्लैंस एंड वेस्टर्न हिमालयाज में जो सेफर्ड ट्राइब रहती थी उसको हम क्या कहते हैं? गद्दीज. दीज गद्दीज आर स्टिल देयर इन वेस्टर्न हिमालयाज. गद्दी ये ट्राइब रहती थी. एंड देन वी फाइंड दैट नॉर्थ ईस्टर्न पार्ट जो है हमारे सब कॉन्टिनेंट का, वहाँ भी बहुत सारे ट्राइब्स रहते थे, जैसे नागाज हैं, अहोम्स हैं. दीज आर द इम्पॉर्टेंट ट्राइब्स who lived in the northeastern part of the subcontinent. And then we see Bihar and Jharkhand में केरो जो थे वो ट्राइब रहती थी और ये बहुत ही पावरफुल थे. और इनका राजा ये इन पर अटैक हुआ था केरो पे 1591 में. इट वाज दे वर अटैक्ड इन द ईयर 1590. So he was attacked by this Kero tribe was attacked by Raja Man Singh, who was Akbar's famous general in 1591. And the Raja Man Singh defeated them also. And then a large amount of booty was also taken from them. But the Kero community, the Kero tribe cannot be subdued entirely. And then Aurangzeb also captured many Kero forestries and subjugated the tribe. So they were the powerful tribes. And then we see that Mundas and Santals were also there in Jharkhand and Bengal, Odisha. So these were the important tribes. Then we see in Maharashtra, Highland, and Karnataka, there lived Kolis, Berads, and many other tribes. And in Gujarat, Kolis used to live in Gujarat also. These are the important tribes who were spread in the complete subcontinent. And other than this, there were Koragas, Vetars, and Maravars tribes were also there. And one more important tribe was there, that is Bhil, which was spread across western and central India. And we find that by the late 16th century, they become settled agriculturists. They settled at one place. Instead of moving from one place to another, they settled at one place, and some even became jamindars. So Bhil clan, but the most of the Bhil remained hunter-gatherer only. And likewise, the Goans were also very important tribe of the central India, and they were found in great numbers across present-day Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, and Andhra Pradesh. Okay, so these are the this is the important, we can say, uh, distribution of tribal population. And now we see that nomadic people and mobile people, how they used to live. The nomadic pastoralist people who rear animals in order to uh, gain their livelihood, in order to earn their livelihood, they rear animals. These people are known as pastoralist. And the pastoralist have to move from one place to another because they are rearing cattle. The cattle will graze the grass in order to survive, and if they stay at one place, then the cattle cannot survive because it will graze all the grass. Then it will need to go to a new place because all the grass is used up. So because of this reason, and then season is also another reason because of which the pastoralists have to always move from one place to another, and that is why they are called nomadics. And these people are totally dependent on the products of their cattle, like milk, ghee, wool. These are the products they get from their cattle, and in order to get grains and cloth, utensil, and other products, they exchanged their goods with the goods of the settled agriculturalists. Like उनके पास बुल है, घी है, मिल्क है, तो उसको वो एक्सचेंज कर लेते थे जो एग्रीकल्चरलिस्ट होते थे उनके साथ, ग्रेन्स के लिए, क्लोथ, यूटेंसिल और अदर प्रोडक्ट्स के लिए। एंड वी सी दैट जो सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट ट्रेडेड नोमैड्स थे देवर बंजाराज। बंजाराज के कारवां को क्या कहा जाता था? टांडा। टांडा वाज द नेम गिवन टू द कारवां ऑफ बंजाराज, एंड दीज बंजाराज वर यूज्ड by Sultan Alauddin Khilji to transport grain to the city market because they were always on move. So they were used to transport grain to the city market. And Jahangir also wrote in his memoirs that Banjaras carried grain on their bullocks from different areas and sold it in the towns. है ना? तो because they were always on move, so they were they were used by these emperors in order to transport the grains. And not only this, they also transported food grains for the Mughal army. If the army is engaged in any kind of military activity, military campaign, then they transported also food for the Mughal army. And with a large army, there could be 1 lakh bullocks carrying grain। 1 लाख तक बुलक्स उनके पास होते थे जिससे कि वो ग्रेन्स को कैरी करते थे। ओके, एंड वी सी दैट बहुत सारे जो पेस्टोरल ट्राइब्स थे वो एनिमल्स को रेयर करके करते थे और उन्हें बेच भी देते थे। लाइक कैटल हैं, हॉर्सेस हैं, जो प्रॉस्पेरस पीपल होते थे, दे यूज टू सेल दीज एनिमल्स। एंड different caste of petty peddlers, they traveled from village to village, है ना? These are also tribals जो कि peddlers अपने पाँव पे पैदल, they used to move, and they moved for the purpose of selling their wear. Like they used to make such wares like ropes, reeds, straw matting, coarse sack, है ना? तो ये सब चीज़ें वो अपने हाथों से बनाते थे और उसको वो बेचते थे। एंड समटाइम्स they acted as a merchant, है ना? In other than this, there were some tribes, some people inside this tribe, some caste inside this tribe, which who used to perform so many different types of acts in order to entertain the people. So now we see that the economy was changing, and accordingly, the needs of society were also changing. People with new skills were required in the society, and accordingly, we find that the Varna system, the hierarchy, was also started to change. New castes appeared among the Varnas. Varnas के अंदर नए कास्ट जो होते हैं उनका इमर्जेंस होता है। And on the other hand, we find that many tribes and social groups were taken into caste based society, and they were given the status of जाति। वर्णा के अंदर डिफरेंट ग्रुप्स आ गए जिनको हम जाति के नाम से जानने लगे। सो जाति जो था, जाति became the basis for the organization of society. That is the change which occurred in the society. And not only this, among the Kshatriyas also we find that a new clan of Rajput became very powerful in the 11th and 12th centuries. And these Rajput clan, they belong to different lineages like Hunas, Chandelas, Chalukyas, and others. And not only this, some of these Rajput clans, they were tribes earlier. And many of these clans, uh, they started to be regarded as Rajputs. They started to replace the older ruler. And they developed a society uh, in which we find that rulers use their wealth to create powerful states. So, in this way, so many changes were occurring in the society. And we see that राजपूत क्लैन जो था वो उसका राइज होता है और वो रूलर्स के पोजीशन पे पहुंच जाता है. और the with the support of Brahmins, we find that many tribes also became part of the caste system. And but here, when they become a part of the caste system, we find that only leading tribal families could join the रूलिंग क्लास. लार्ज मेजॉरिटी जो था वो लोअर जाति में ही रह जाता है. एक बस लीडिंग जो ट्राइबल फैमिली है वही रूलिंग क्लास बन पाता है. और नॉट ओनली दिस, बहुत सारे जो डोमिनेंट ट्राइब्स थे पंजाब के, सिंध के, नॉर्थ वेस्ट फ्रंटियर के, उन्होंने अब एक नई स्टार्टिंग ये भी होती है कि दे जॉइंट दिस Islam. They adopted Islam because in Islam there is no concept of inequality, and the unequal social order is not accepted there like Hinduism. So we see that people started adopting Islam. And now we see, we will have a closer look towards the Goans and the Ahoms. The Goans, they lived in a forested region called Gondwana. Gondwana, Gond से ही बना है गोंडवाना, है ना? The country which is inhabited by the Goans. Okay, so these people practiced sifting cultivation. Sifting cultivation means when in forested areas cultivation is to be done. What is done by the people, that the trees are cut down, and then it is burnt, and their ash is mixed in the ash is mixed in the soil, and then the seeds are scattered on the soil, and then in this way cultivation is done. And uh, uh, after the crop is harvested, and then what they do that, uh, when when this land loses its fertility, they leave this place and they move to another place. They shift to another place, and another place now it is being cleared by them and planted in the same way. So this is called a shifting cultivation. So it was performed by the Goans. And we find that the large Goan tribe was again divided into smaller clans. एक गोंड ट्राइब है, उसके अंदर बहुत सारे क्लैंस हुआ करते थे. एंड हर क्लैन का अपना राजा या राय हुआ करता था. ईच क्लान हैड इट्स ओन राजा और राय. ओके, सो वी सी दैट ईच क्लैन जो था उसके अपने राजा या राय हुआ करते थे. और इस समय वो टाइम था जब दिल्ली Delhi Sultan, the power of the Delhi Sultan was started to decline. And because the power of the Delhi Sultan was declined, we find that the some of the Goan kingdoms, they started to become powerful. Like Akbarnama, in Akbarnama it is mentioned that the Goan kingdom of Garha Katanga had 70,000 villages. So it was a very large Gond kingdom. The name is Garha Katanga, and where it is mentioned in Akbar Nama. And how many villages were there in Garha Katanga? 70,000 villages were there. Okay, and now we see the administrative system of these Gond kingdom was very centralized, and we see that the kingdom was divided into garhas. Like Garha Katanga was one of the garhas in which the kingdom was divided, and then each garha was controlled by a particular Gond clan. ठीक है, हर गाढ़ा जो है वो एक गोंड क्लान उसको कंट्रोल करता था. एंड देन दिस गरहा was again divided into 84 villages which was called 84. ठीक है, पूरा का पूरा गोंड किंगडम को गरहा में डिवाइड किया गया था. गरहा जो है वो 84 में डिवाइड किया गया था, जिसमें कि 84 विलेजेस होते थे. देन अगेन दिस 84 वाज डिवाइडेड इनटू बरहोड्स, जिसका मतलब हुआ कि 12 villages each. Okay, so we find that this large states emerged, and accordingly the nature of Bond society also changed, and we find that their society also started to divide it into unequal social classes. The society which earlier was based on this concept of equality, it started to be divided into unequal social classes when it started to grow. जब वो बड़ा हो गया बहुत ही इसका गोंड किंगडम, तो वहाँ पर इनइक्वालिटी आने लगी. अब क्या हुआ कि जो ब्राह्मण्स थे उनको लैंड ग्रांट्स दिए जाते थे गोंड राजास की तरफ से, एंड बिकॉज द गोंड राजा वाज मेकिंग द ब्राह्मणस हैप्पी, सो द ब्राह्मणस इन टर्न मेक द गोंड राजास हैप्पी, है ना. सो द मेन पर्पस ऑफ गिविंग गिफ्ट्स टू ब्राह्मणास was that the Gond chiefs wanted to be recognized as Rajputs because they were ruling over a kingdom. So they wanted to be recognized as Rajput, and that is why they were giving gifts to the land grants to the Brahmins. And we see like one such Raja was, Gond Raja was Aman Das. He was the Gond Raja of Garha Katanga. He assumed the title of Sangram Sah, है ना, and his son was Dalpat. This Dalpat married a princess Durgavati, who the daughter of was the daughter of Salbahan, the Chandel Rajput Raja of Mahoba. तो you can just see कि जो राजपूत राजा की बेटी से दलपत ने शादी की, तो ये इनके पावर को और भी ज़्यादा बढ़ा देता है. तो इन दिस वे सोसाइटी जो है वो चेंज हो रही थी. अब इसमें हम लोग दलपत के स्टोरी को थोड़ा सा देखेंगे कि दलपत की डेथ हो जाती है, एंड आफ्टर हिज डेथ रानी दुर्गावती started ruling this Garha Katanga on behalf of her 5-year-old son, and the name of her son was Veer Narayan. And we find that mm, under the rule of Durgavati, the kingdom became more extensive. It expanded its territory, and then in 1565, what happened that Mughal forces uh, attacked Garha Katanga under the जो कमांडर थे उस समय वो थे आसफ खान के कमांडरशिप में गरहा कटंगा पे फिर से अटैक होता है, एंड दुर्गावती सी फॉट ब्रेवली but she was defeated, and then she preferred to die rather than to surrender, and her son also died fighting. So in this way we see that Garha Katanga, it was a rich state. It earned so much wealth by trapping and exporting wild elephants to other kingdoms. That was the source of income for Garha Katanga. And when the Mughals defeated the Goans, they captured a huge booty of precious coins and elephants. And not only this, the Mughals annexed some part of the kingdom and granted rest of them to Chandra Shah. ठीक है, चंद्र शाह ही वॉज अंकल ऑफ वीर नारायण. तो कुछ पार्ट को मुगलों ने अपने में मिला लिया, लेकिन बाकी को उन्होंने छोड़ दिया और चंद्र शाह को वहाँ का राजा बना दिया, जो कि वीर नारायण का अंकल था. एंड इसके बाद भी हम देखते हैं कि गरहा कटंगा का फॉल तो हो जाता है, लेकिन गोंड किंगडम बहुत दिनों तक सरवाइव करता है. एंड धीरे धीरे वो वीक होते जाते हैं और बाद में आगे चल के बुंदेल्स और मराठास के सामने उनकी हार हो जाती है. ओके, so this is all for today. We will continue with this in the next class.